Welcome back, my Jedi friends, and today we're going to discuss the two mountains in your life that are the silent killers of love and happiness, and that is guilt and judgment. Guilt and judgment are the two mountains that get in everybody's way. And if you can navigate these, then life gets easier. But it's not easy to navigate guilt and judgment because it's everywhere, folks. It's everywhere. It's an infection. It's a disease. It's a dis-ease. Diseased we are. Guilt and judgment, the pillars that all of your issues, your bullshit, your pain is built from. All of them come from guilt, judgment. So, the very quick message to you is to lose guilt and stop judging people and yourself, and your life gets easier. There you go. Simple. Job done. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you very much. Oh, it's that easy, Adam. All I need to do is stop judging people. And because I stop judging people, I'll stop feeling guilty. And because I stop feeling guilty, I'll stop judging people or feeling the need to judge people. Yes, it is quite like that, folks. That's how it is. But that's a lot easier said than done, as with most things that we talk about on here, folks. So we're really going to explore how these mountains they build up, and what we can do about it, what you can do about it, what you can do to make your life better, to reduce guilt and judgment, and thus increase love and happiness, because love and happiness are the opposite of guilt and judgment. Guilt and judgment are the opposite of love and happiness. And we're going to discuss this dynamic today. We're going to discuss it, folks. So, what I will say, gratuitous plug ahead, folks. A gratuitous plug is this is a topic I cover at length in my book, The Lunatic Gene. Link at the bottom in the description of this video, folks. I would suggest if this is a topic that's interesting to you, then you definitely want to deeper dive into it there. And it's full of anecdotes and stories that will relate to what I'm telling you today. So, this has come from the result of me working with people with serious health issues, thousands of them. And the two things that always present, always with anyone that's got any massive problem are guilt and judgment. So let's discuss how this works. How this works. The hidden secret virus that infiltrates all of our systems, because we all like to think that we're good people. We all like to think we are a better form, the best form of everything, that all human beings should think like us, because we know best, folks. We know best. There's the judge creeping in with that sort of mindset. And we look at others and behaviors and we point our finger. It's like, that is wrong. That is wrong. Now, the moment that you say that, that is wrong. No, that's wrong. You're starting to judge. Now, like anything, folks, there is a place for guilt and judgment that isn't a terrible thing. A lot of the ways out, the ways that I get you to wake up, we need to have a little bit of judgment to get us there. So there's a time and a place. It's like anything else. There's a time and a place for judgment. Guilt, I'm going to argue, is the after effect of judgment. When judgment goes wrong, when judgment goes wrong, folks. But again, let's not overcomplicate this for now. This is a very complicated and nuanced area, and you're just going to get a very big picture overview from me today, folks. A big picture. We're looking down at the mountains today, folks, looking down at these two massive mountains, guilt and judgment, and how they limit our ability to attract love and happiness in our life. So there you go. Two mountains, folks. So let's start. We start by looking at other people and judging what they do. Now, if we're really brutally honest with ourselves, folks, there's certain contexts of life where we are complete hypocrites. We judge people in one area and then we are guilty of something in another. So let's take, here's a classic. Here's a classic. One simple example. So at home, you might not listen to anyone. You might just be exhausted. There might be all sorts of reasons. People talk to you, you don't want to know. You're not very receptive. Leave me alone. I need some time out. Get out of my way. Don't want to listen today, folks. not listening. The face might look interested, but the ears ain't a hearing, folks. And people talk to you, talk, 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 talk. You're not listening, you switch off. And for you, that's completely normal and justified, possibly because you've had a hard day at work. You just want to be left alone, need some downtime, whatever. I'm not judging it. That's reasonable in certain contexts. But at work, you might say something to someone and it's really important, and they might not listen, folks. They might not listen. Then you judge them. You don't listen to me. You don't listen to me. And this is important. And yet, your spouse at home, your partner, your kids, whatever it is, they might say exactly the same to you. What I told you was important, and you will just brush it off. That's just one very brief example of how we can be the judge and jury and we completely hypocrites, complete hypocrites from different areas of our life that we don't necessarily apply the same set of rules from one area of our life to another, and we become judgmental when it suits us. When it suits us, we judge others, even though we're completely guilty of exactly the same thing in other areas of our life. And what this creates is hypocrisy for a start, and guilt when people call us out on it, or we might feel guilty that you missed something. So let's take another example. No, let's take that same example and let's look how guilt can then enter the equation. So you might not listen to somebody talking to you at home, and then they might go and do something. They might go out. Your spouse has had enough listening to you, and they might decide, right, I'm going out with my mates. I'm not going to tell you where I'm going. I'm going to go and party all night. And then you get worried, you're upset, blah, 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 blah. And they might come back and you're like, where were you? Why didn't you tell me? Big fight, big fight. Now, this is just one tiny little example of how things can spiral out of hand. And then guilt enters the equation. It was your fault. You didn't listen. And part of you knows that that's true. It's true, but we justify bullshit behavior because in our head, it's like, no, I don't want to listen. No, I've had a hard day at work. No, I've done all of this stuff. Our judge tells us it makes us right, even when we're wrong. Process that, folks. Right when we're wrong. The judge overrides. And the judge is the head, the jury is the heart. Now, the heart, from an electrical standpoint, has 40 to 60 times the electrical amplitude of the brain. Now, process that, folks. That your judge has the loudest voice, but it has very minimal impact on your body and the integration of your body's electrical system. And if your heart is telling you one thing, but your head's overruling it, puts you out of alignment, and that creates dis-ease, folks. Dis-ease. Because if we start to feel what feels right, and empaths will be good at this, you'll be good at feeling stuff, but you'll probably also be good at the judge overruling it for the greater good, folks, for the greater good. Somebody comes in shouting, causing chaos, in a bad mood, just back from work, upsetting everyone in the house. Your jury, your heart's saying that person's being an asshole, being out of order. But your judge, your head might say, well, it's best not to do anything about it. It would be too much chaos to address this square on. Maybe I don't need the headache of dealing with this right now. So everyone can suck it up. Let's just say nothing. Let's just hope that it goes away. Let's just hope if we leave them for a couple of hours, that they'll be in a better mood later. There you go, folks. Classic example how the judge can overrule the jury, but the jury has a bigger impact on our body. So we're hypocrites in certain areas of our life, and our jury, our heart, our feelings needs to be heard and expressed, but our judge creates reasons, excuses, barriers to us dealing with that. And there lieth the judge and the jury. And that's how we break apart, we go out of alignment. Because there's a load of stuff we know is wrong, but we don't deal with it. And now we're back to tolerance. And we talked on tolerance, how tolerance is poison for your soul, folks. poison for your soul. This is all of the result of this judge and jury situation that's set up between your head and your heart, and guilt and judgment are the weapons that manifest this. All starts with judgment. Judgment, our head overriding our heart, is at the heart of all of our problems. So there you go, folks. If your heart was in control and your heart was calling the shots. Now, I'm not saying that that's always going to be right. Sometimes your heart calling the shot could get you harmed or killed. If a lunatic with a gun walks in and starts smacking people around, and your heart says, "That's wrong, I'll speak up," you could get yourself shot, folks. So let's take it to an extreme. There are times where it's good to overrule these mechanisms. They're not always right. They're not always appropriate for the situation. But generally, we've learned to put ourselves out of sync in certain situations so that the head has way too much say and the heart is often overruled. That puts us energetically at a minus. And here's some of the symptoms when this starts happening, because it's a low energy point, folks. It's a low energy. You'll be less likely or motivated to exercise. You'll be more motivated to eat shit, because that's a coping mechanism. A lot of people went, so weight gain, and we've talked about this spiritual weight gain when you're out of alignment of all of these dynamics. Very common. And then we beat ourselves up. If you're an empath, you absolutely great at beating yourself up. And then the guilt spiral starts. You know you're out of alignment. You know people are crossing the line. You're not doing anything about it, and you're choosing not to do anything about it. And you've got a guilt spiral. And it gets worse and worse and worse. It's like a vortex, folks. And I guarantee you, people caught in that guilt spiral, they'll be overweight, possibly have sleep issues, they'll have stress issues in their life, they'll possibly be on medication for hypertension, because all of this out unmanaged, the heart is going nuts because the head is overruling it. The judge is not doing anything about things that you know are wrong. You know that you're wrong. You know that the head is stopping you from doing what needs to be done, but you're scared. You're fearful. These are the barriers, folks. These are the barriers. And this is how guilt and judgment, these mountains in your way, folks, that they escalate. They get higher and higher and higher the less that we deal with them, which is why love and happiness of now, they're not only not part of your life, it doesn't even seem possible after a certain amount of time when this dynamic builds up, because you're so detached from what you need and how to achieve it and the desire to achieve it. And of course, then you've got extra guilt because you're putting on weight. Then the judgment kicks in. Oh, look at me. I can't lose the weight. I feel terrible. Your mood, your energy, you go into a life crisis, folks. Life crisis. Because the rogue judge is making bad call judgments all day, every day. And part of you is telling it's for greater good, and your heart's going, no. We're dealing in the kangaroo court. We're dealing with an unfair system. Unfair system, folks. Now, look what's happening if you're in the UK. Unfair system. This stuff manifests in your life. It manifests. The system will get less fair and less fair and less fair. But if you're honest with yourself, you've created that dynamic in your own life. There's been an unfair justice system for a long, long time if you're an empath. A long, long time, folks. And if you're feeling that society is getting wrong at the moment, it's just manifesting a dynamic that has been at play for God knows how long in your world. And this is how it builds guilt and judgment. The pillars of everything that goes wrong, folks. Everything that goes wrong. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. And it's a death spiral. So, okay, there's the problem. There's what causes the problem, folks. But what can you do about it? What can you do about it? Oh, shit, you're right. Oh, shit, I've put on weight. You're right, I'm not sleeping well. Oh, shit, there's serious health issues. Oh, my God, I've just been taking blood pressure tablets. I've just been diagnosed that my blood pressure shooting. Of course it is, folks. Of course. It's no surprise because this dynamic has been manifesting in your world. It's been cranking up the pressure, it's been upping the symptoms, and your heart has been making your body ill because your head won't listen to what it says. And it's thinking, well, if your head's going to operate in that way, then we're going to make you sick. We're going to make you sick. So you're either going to get this message or you're going to die. I know that's very sensationalist, folks. That seems a little bit, oh, really, Adam? That sounds a bit mad. But I've spent enough time with people at the end of life to understand this dynamic better than you'll know, folks. Better than you'll know. And most people have heart attacks, strokes, cancer. There were no warning symptoms. There were no warning. Yes, there's warning symptoms. This is the warning symptom. Your rogue judge and jury. Your heart telling you your head's full of shit. You seeing things that you know are wrong and doing nothing about it. There's the symptom, folks. There's the symptom. And what can you do about it? You can start addressing the stuff that's not fair with a almost reckless disregard for how the relationship's going to go down. Because if someone's been crossing your boundaries or doing unfair shit to you for a period of time and they can't handle you standing up for yourself or growing a set or getting saying no or telling them to go and fuck themselves if they keep crossing that line and keep doing stuff that's out of alignment, and that relationship was never worth investing in the first place, folks. And that's the grim reality that a lot of empaths have to wake up to. Have to wake up to it. And not just empaths, folks, just decent people. There's about 5% people with no empathy, psychopaths, sociopaths, narcissists, roughly. And so many people on my thread say, it's more got to be more than 5%. It's only seems like it's more than 5% to you folks because more of them attracted in. When you don't get this message, you'll attract more narcissists. You'll have one at work, you'll have a partner who's a narcissist. You might even have narcissistic kids. You've been putting up with it. Now you're ill. Now you're ill because life is unfair. How do I deal with this stuff? And the only way that you can deal with it is to change the rules, change your boundaries, and say no to it, and quite possibly cut them out of your life. And go back to loneliness, which is a common thread in a lot of the videos when you're going through this stuff. So again, this is another piece of the jigsaw, folks. It's another angle. All I'm doing is taking the same problem in all my videos and I'm putting the camera at a different angle. I'm giving you slightly different perspectives from slightly different angles as to the bigger picture, the pieces of this jigsaw. And the reason that I'm doing that is because at some stage, I'm hoping it will start to come together for you. It will start to make sense because there is a common theme. There are common threads with all of the videos that I do. And it's all about getting you to take ownership for everything in your life. No more blame. Don't need to blame anyone. You just need to say no. You need to write your own rules. You need to empower yourself. You need to feel better about yourself. And when you do that, folks, you'll have more energy. When you have more energy, you're more likely to exercise. When you're more likely to exercise, you're more likely to lose weight. When you're more likely to lose weight and you're more likely to exercise and you have more energy, you're likely to stop comfort eating, which will help you to lose the weight and to help you to amplify your mood and to help you to amplify your energy because you'll just feel better about yourself. Because you're saying no to assholes. You're saying no to bad behavior. You're walking out of toxic relationships. And you are fearlessly doing what feels better, even if it means a very lonely path in the short term. That's the facts, folks. That's the facts that a lot of people have to wake up to. A lot of people are waking up to. And a lot of people have been traumatized to get them to even consider this. And that could be you, folks. It could be you. So wherever you are in the journey, however that this is impacting you, whatever you're feeling at the moment, stick with the program, folks, and just keep saying no to bullshit, standing up to bad behavior, not talking to people who are not energizing you, not dropping everything to help others, putting your own needs first. Common threads on these little videos, folks. Common threads to my Jedi friends. You will feel better and be more empowered at the end of this. So, folks, there you go. Another piece of the jigsaw for you. And if this content is resonating with you, then, and you're not already subscribed to the channel, then I seriously suggest that you do. Show the video a bit of love, do yourself a favor and get more pieces to this jigsaw if you're not ready to empower yourself just yet. And speaking of other pieces to the jigsaw, there's another one just there, folks. And go out, my Jedi friends. Stop feeling guilty. Stop judging yourself and others and start following your heart and doing what you know to be the right thing is, regardless of where it leads.